So find your comfortable seat. You can sit cross-legged if that works for you. If sitting cross-legged doesn't work, you're always welcome to extend the legs out in front of you, or you can sit like on your shins with your legs tucked underneath you, really whatever is most comfortable. And then you're always also welcome, if you have tighter hips, you can sit on a pillow or like a blanket or something to elevate the hips. And sometimes that'll help you feel a little more comfortable in your seated position. So let's go ahead and just get started, placing the hands on the tops of our knees or tops of your thighs. If that's uncomfortable, you can always just rest your hands in your lap. So most importantly here, you want to just sit comfortably and try to lengthen up through the whole spine. Find a gentle lift in the center of the chest, roll the shoulders down and back. Good, yeah, beautiful guys. And then close the eyes if you haven't closed them already. And as we begin our yoga practice, we always start by tuning in to the body and to the breath. So just take a moment to notice what's going on with you today. How is your body feeling? Scan your body, and if you have any physical discomforts or aches or pains, take a moment to send some extra breath to that area. And be aware of that area or areas as you move today so that you can allow your practice to nourish and nurture those areas and not create any more discomfort there. See if you can release any tension that you're holding in the neck, the jaw, the shoulders. Let your hips be heavy on the floor. And then also notice what you have going on in the mind today. How are you showing up emotionally and mentally? Yoga is never a place for judgment. So we don't want to judge the thoughts that we have going on. We don't want to judge the emotions that we're having. Just observe. And as we move through our practice today, we're going to move through a gentle warm-up and then a posture breakdown section where we're going to move through a series of postures that I explain step by step. And then we'll unite that into a flow before doing our cool down and some gentle stretches before our shavasana. So as we move through these poses today, just remember that your most important thing is your breath. So as long as you are breathing, you're doing just fine. The postures are just secondary to that. Now, notice the breath and notice where it's at today. Notice if your breath is shallow or staggered, or if your breath is full and consistent. And then we're going to start to add a deeper breath here. And as you focus on the breath, notice that you naturally step out of your head and into the present moment and into your body. So as long as you stay with your breath throughout your practice today, you will stay present with your body. If you lose your breath at any point, you might notice that the thoughts return or that you step out of the present moment. And remember, that's not a point to judge. We just want to gently guide our awareness back to the breath and to the body. As you inhale, breathe in through the nose and try to breathe deeply down into the belly. Sometimes it even helps to rest your hands on your belly and try to breathe in to the hands and expand your hands And then as you exhale, pull your navel in towards the spine, and you'll feel your hands sink into the belly. And just do that a few times. So breathe in, expand the belly in all four sides of the torso, and as you exhale, breathe out and squeeze all the air out of the bottom of the lungs. And take a few rounds of breath like that. Now the hands are on the belly just as kind of a tool so that you can feel where you're breathing into. If it's comfortable for you to breathe into the belly already, you're welcome to relax the hands. And just find that connection to your breath. So today, we're going to practice a 3-part breath before we get going. So 3-part breath means that we're going to breathe 1/3 into the belly, 1/3 into the rib cage, and then 1/3 into the chest. So when you're ready, begin to inhale, breathe into the belly, bring that up into the lower ribs, and then all the way up into your chest, into your heart space. And then exhale completely, let it out. Breathe into the belly, raise it up to the low ribs, all the way up into your chest, maybe even feel the chest lift, and then exhale, let it go. Take one more round just like that. Breathe into the belly, bring it up into the low ribs, all the way up into the heart, and exhale, let it go. And just notice if at any point during that breath it becomes a little strained or a little forced. Do your best to keep that rhythm of breath, breathing into all those 3 areas throughout your practice. Again, if that feels foreign, all you need to do today is just breathe. So keep your eyes closed, but we'll draw the hands together at heart center. So palms touch, and then thumbs will connect to your heart space, to your sternum. Gently lift your sternum towards your thumbs and set an intention here to allow this practice to nurture your body, your mind, and your soul. Take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, bow your chin in towards your chest. Bow into yourself at the beginning of practice and feel that intention into your body. Inhale, lift the head. Release your hands. And flutter your eyes open if you haven't already, signaling that we're ready to move our bodies a little bit. So in today's practice, we're going to start with a lateral side body stretch. So from your seated position, your legs won't change at all. You're going to take your left hand off to the side to the floor. So your left hand is on the outside of your left hip on the mat. And then reach your right arm straight up towards the sky. Yes, so you're reaching your right fingertips towards the ceiling. Yes. So the palm will face the middle of your body, which means that your thumb will spin back behind you and your pinky will spin forward. So your hand is still lifted. Your hand is going to stay just like that. So your arm is reaching all the way up overhead. Take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, this right arm stays just as it is. Just lean your torso to the left. So you're reaching your right arm up and over. Yes, good. Roll the right shoulder open. Keep the chest lifting towards the ceiling. And then lean your head slightly back in space. If it feels comfortable, you can rotate your head so that your nose is pointing up towards the sky. Yes, good. Big inhale into that right side. Big exhale. And then inhale, come all the way up. We're going to switch sides. So right hand down. Bring your right hand to the outside of your hip on the mat. Reach the left arm straight up towards the ceiling. Pinky spins forward, thumb spins back. So your palm is facing the midline of your body. Big inhale, reach through the fingertips. Exhale, lean your torso over to the right. So left arm stays lifted. Just reach up and out with those left fingertips. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Breathe into the left side. Roll your chest open a little bit more. If you need more space, you can always walk your right hand a little further away from you too. So if you want to walk the right hand further away from the hip on the floor, that's just going to allow you a little bit more space to side bend. Good. And then one more round of breath here. Inhale, come all the way up. Good. We're going to move with our breath. So as you inhale, reach the right arm up. Right arm reaches straight up. Good. And then exhale, lean over to the left. So we're doing the same thing. It's just we're going to move with the breath. Good. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, right hand down. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, lean over to the right. Yes, beautiful, guys. Inhale, come up. We're going to do it one more time on each side. So just move at your own breath rate. When you're ready, reach the right arm up. Lean over. Good. Inhale, come back to center. And left arm up. Lean it up and over. Very good job, guys. And then come all the way back to center. Let's go ahead and switch the cross of our legs. If you are sitting in a cross-legged seat, just make sure you switch the cross so that your opposite leg is in front or on top. That way we're just bringing a little more balance to our body. And then pull your booty flesh out of the way. So you're going to take your hands and physically pull your booty flesh out of the way so that your hips are a little bit more grounded. From here, we're going to do some neck circles. So lengthen up through the top of your head. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, drop your chin towards your chest. So your nose is now pointing down towards the floor. Should feel like a nice stretch through the back of your neck. Keep your chin towards the chest and roll your left ear towards your left shoulder. Bring the left ear all the way to the left shoulder. And then press your right shoulder away from your right ear. So you'll feel a little bit more stretch through the right side of your neck. Good. And then bring your chin back to your chest. Roll it across the chest and bring your right ear to your right shoulder. So moving to your other side, push the left shoulder down away from your left ear so that you feel more stretch through the left side of your neck. Yes, wonderful, guys. And then we're going to do that a couple of times with the breath. So roll the chin across your chest, left ear to left shoulder. And roll the chin across the chest, right ear, right shoulder. And just breathe into that. Do that a few times, moving with your breath. Feeling if you feel any little tweaks or cricks in there. Try to release it a little bit as you move. Yes, wonderful, guys. And let's take one more round. We'll land with the chin back at the center of the chest. Your nose is still pointing down towards the earth. And then nice and slow, inhale, lift your head up. All right, guys. So we're going to come onto all fours, making our way into tabletop position. So you're going to come, you can roll over the legs or swing your legs to one side, and you're going to make your way onto your hands and your knees. Yep. So up. Want me to come onto your hands and your knees? Yep. Yeah. So in your tabletop position, the shoulders are stacked directly over the wrists, and then your hips are right over the knees. You can tuck the toes under, so that'll add a little bit more energy to the legs. Raquel, you actually had it right the first time. Tuck your toes under. Yep, there you go. So here, just try to find a neutral spine first. Notice where your head is in space. Your head is an extension of the spine. So try to keep your head up in line with the heart and extend out through your tailbone behind you. So really pull the belly button up and in. Yes, good job, guys. We're going to move into our first cow pose. So cow pose is a heart opener, which means it's a slight back bend. You're going to start to lift the sit bones towards the sky, lifting your tailbone towards the sky. Your belly will begin to drop towards the floor, and then lift your chest forward and up between the biceps. And then you're going to start to send your nose up towards the sky, like you're trying to look up. Yeah. Yeah. So big stretch through the front body here. This is cow pose. And then as you exhale, you're gonna round through the spine. This is called cat pose. So tuck the tailbone, curl your chin towards your chest, press down into the hands and round through the whole back. Yes, now you're getting a stretch through the back body. And then we're gonna move with our breath. So as you inhale, lift the sit bones, lift your chest, maybe lift your head. Yes, and then exhale, round through the spine. Draw your navel up and in, chin to chest. And then just do that a few times. And I always say in this pose, it feels really good to also throw in any other movements that feel good. So intuitively, just ask your body how it wants to move. You can shift from side to side. You can kind of wag your hips back and forth. Really anything that feels good to you and your body. You're just warming up, you're saying hello, noticing any areas that feel tense or restricted, and breathe some space and some love into any areas that feel tight. Very good job, guys. Let's take it through one more round at your own pace. Yes, and then come back to that neutral spine, tabletop pose. Head is lifted up in line with the heart, extend out through the tailbone, lengthen through the whole spine. Good. From here, we're gonna take it into our first child's pose. So untuck your toes. So now the tops of your feet are on the floor. Bring your big toes together and then bring your knees wider than your hips. So your knees will kind of walk out towards the outside edges of the mat. Yes, from here, press into the hands and sit your hips back all the way to the heels. So eventually your sit bones will touch the heels. It's okay if they don't yet. That's okay. It's a big hip opener stretch. Yes, good job, guys. And then walk your hands forward towards the front of your mat and allow your chest and your forehead to drop towards the floor. Eventually, your forehead will actually rest on the floor. If it doesn't already, you can use your forearms or your hands as a pillow and rest your forearms or rest your head on the pillow that you're creating with your arms. Otherwise, allow your head to come all the way down. You do want your forehead connected to something. And then breathe into the low back. Create some space there. And we're actually going to practice that same 3-part breath, but this time we're going to breathe into the back body. So as you inhale, breathe 1/3 into the low back, 1/3 into the mid back, and then 1/3 into the upper back between the shoulder blades. And then exhale. And then keep that breath going. So breathe 1/3 into the low back, 1/3 into the mid back, 1/3 into the chest, and then exhale, let it go. Do that 2 more times, nice and slow. And as you breathe, root into the tops of your feet, even your little pinky toe, press the pinky toe down into the earth. Relax your head and neck. Wonderful, guys. Take one more round of breath here. And then we're going to make our way into a downward facing dog just as a transition. We're gonna break down this posture later. So basically just come back to a tabletop pose, coming back to all fours. And then tuck your toes under, lift your hips, and walk your feet forward to the hands. So we're gonna be in a standing forward fold now at the front of our mat. There we go. We're gonna take ragdoll pose. So walk your feet even more forward, Sheila. Keep going, keep going. Yep, and then bend your knees a lot and lay your chest and belly on your thighs. So this is called ragdoll pose. This is a really good release for the low back. Yeah, there you go. So you're just gonna be in, this is called a forward fold. Yep, and you can either place your hands on the floor just for support. You can also grab opposite elbows here if that feels good. And really just allow the head and the neck to relax. Take a nice deep inhale in, deep exhale out. And then bend your knees even more. We're gonna roll up all the way to standing, but we're gonna take it nice and slow. So keep the knees super bent. Your head and your chest and your arms will still kind of hang. And then you're going to start to tuck the tailbone and roll up one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. And eventually you're going to come all the way up to standing. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Nice and slow. Take it at your own time. Yeah, very good. That can feel really nice for the spine. So we're going to start the posture breakdown of the class. So we're going to be breaking down what's called a vinyasa. A vinyasa has many kind of very important poses that we would move through in a yoga practice. So the first one is just Tadasana, mountain pose. So in your Tadasana pose, Tadasana means mountain pose, and it's just a standing pose. So first, start with the feet. You want your heels to be directly underneath your sit bone, so your feet are about sitting bone distance apart. So you want your toes to point straight forward. Yes, good. And then soft bend in the knees, not a big bend, just a soft bend in the knees. Yes. Engage your low belly, pull your belly button up and in. And then from here, you're going to face your palms forward. So palms face forward, arms are by your sides. All you're doing though is spinning the thumbs out. So your palms will face forward. Yep, there we go. And then roll the shoulders down and back, lift through the chest, and sit nice and tall. Good, so this is Tadasana pose. Really, it's just standing pose. So it means mountain pose. You should feel strong, you should feel confident, you should feel powerful here. From here, we're going to lift the arms up overhead. So your arms are going to come out to the side and reach all the way up to the sky, reaching for the ceiling. Yep. Your palms face each other. So just like we did in our lateral bend, your pinkies will spin forward, your thumbs will spin back. Yep, good. Reach through the fingertips, press down more into the feet. Big inhale here. Exhale, this is forward fold. So actually, let's take our hands to our hips, just so you know where to bend from. So take the hands to the hips. This is where you're bending from. So you're going to start to press the hips back behind you, bend your knees as you need, and forward fold. So your chest is going to start to come down towards the floor. Your head will follow. And we were kind of in that same pose before. It's just this one has a slightly straighter leg. So eventually you're going to reach your hands all the way down to the floor. Yeah, and bend your knees as much as you need to. The next pose is called Ardha Chandrasana, I'm sorry, not Ardha Uttanasana, which is called halfway lift. So basically, this is halfway between all the way standing and all the way down. You're going to take your hands to your shin bones, to the fronts of your shins. Yep. And then straighten the arms, pull the shoulders back, and now your torso is basically parallel to the earth. Yeah. You want to have a nice big bend in the knees so that you can really lengthen the spine here. Reach your chest forward and out. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back, so you're really opening through the chest. And then always remember your head is in line with the spine. So your nose should point straight down towards the floor. Yes, you guys look beautiful. All right, so the next one, we're gonna come back up to standing. So come all the way up. And basically, I'm going to explain a chaturanga pose, which is the yogi push-up standing, just because it's a little bit easier to explain it standing so that you guys don't have to hold a push-up and walk me through it, right? So first things first, we're simulating what we're going to be doing on the floor. So everything that we learn here, we're going to take it down to the floor. Find your Tadasana pose. So nice and strong, toes point straight forward. So maybe rotate the feet just slightly in. Yep. And then you're going to take the hands straight out in front of you like you're saying stop. So from here, we're going to simulate what we're doing with the plank to chaturanga. So extend the arms straight out in front of you like you're saying stop. Yes, and you want the heels of your hands, the bottom part of your palms, to be straight out from the shoulder. Spread your fingers really, really wide. So you should have lots of space between every finger, and then draw your shoulders into their sockets. So you're gonna kind of feel like this lock as you pull the shoulders back. Yeah, and you'll feel your shoulder blades squeeze onto your back. This is the strength that you want in your upper body in a plank pose when we come down. So basically when we come down onto the floor, your hands are gonna be on the floor and your body will be parallel to the earth, yeah? So from here, this is where we're gonna simulate our chaturanga. I want you to shift your hands down just about an inch, not that far. Just shift your hands down a little bit, yes. Your hands are gonna stay flexed like they are. Hug your elbows slightly in and then draw your elbows in towards the rib cage. So you're bending your elbows. Yes. So the elbows are gonna tuck right into the sides of your ribs. And then you still want the heels of your hands extended straight out from the elbows. So your elbows are now in about a 90-degree angle. Squeeze the elbows in, squeeze the upper arms in towards your sides. And this is your chaturanga. So here, notice how your chest is really open. This is what we want to keep. When we come into a chaturanga, it's a push-up. So you're going to be lowering down and you're going to bend the elbows to 90 degrees when you're on the floor. What you don't want to do is round through the shoulders as you come down. Does that make sense to everybody? So you don't want to like concave the shoulders. You want to keep the chest nice and open. All right. And then this is the shape that we want with the arms. You don't want to let the arms start coming further back behind you. So if you start, let's do that actually for a little bit. So even start pressing the elbows further back behind you. So the elbows move behind the body, and you'll notice how that starts to put some pressure on the fronts of your shoulders a little bit, right? Not too much because we're not on the floor, but you'll notice how that doesn't quite feel as good as just having the elbows by your sides, yeah? So that's what we want to keep, okay? Chaturanga is a nice, it's a really strong pose. So it's really important that you keep your shoulders nice and healthy in this pose, all right? So we're gonna come, you guys look beautiful. Do you have any questions while we're here? Does this feel good to everybody? Awesome. So let's go ahead. We're gonna come back up to standing. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to come back up. And then we're gonna move through what we just learned and take what we just learned from plank. We're gonna take plank and chaturanga down onto the floor. So find your Tadasana pose, standing at the front of your mat. And then press down into the feet. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, reaching the hands for the sky. Good. Exhale, forward fold. So press your hips back, bring your hands all the way down to the floor. Yes, good. Inhale, halfway lift, hands come to shin bones. Pull the upper arms back, straighten the spine, draw the shoulder blades onto the back. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, take your hands down to the floor and then step your feet back into plank pose. So now imagine that you're standing, but now your hands are on the earth and your body is parallel to the floor. You always have the option in this pose to take your knees down to the earth. So if this is too much for your shoulders, just drop the knees down. What you do want to create is a nice long spine. So kind of feel where your booty is in space. If your booty's way up in the sky, drop it down. If your booty is sinking down low towards the floor, then squeeze your low belly and lift the booty a little bit. So this is a strong pose. Try to draw the shoulder blades onto your back. So now we're going to move through a chaturanga. You can do this on your knees, right? So it's going to be much easier on the knees. So please do it on the knees if you need to. From your plank pose, this is top of a push-up, shift an inch forward. So that's like you're instead of pulling your arms down, you're going to shift your body forward. And then hug the elbows in and bend your elbows and lower down halfway until your elbows bend to 90 degrees. So you're lowering your body towards the floor. Yes. And then once you get there, release your whole body down onto the floor, your hips, your chest, everything comes down. It's a strong pose. So the next pose is cobra pose. Your hands are still right where they are underneath the shoulders. Squeeze your elbows back. Untuck your toes so that the tops of your feet are on the floor. and then lift the chest. So your belly and your hips will still stay on the ground. This is just an opener through the heart, through the chest. Keep squeezing the shoulders back and away from the ears. And then notice here if you're leading with your head. So if the back of your neck feels really crunchy, remember your head's always in line with the spine. So slightly tuck the chin so you feel length through the back of your neck. Yes, beautiful, guys. So that's cobra pose. Our next pose is going to be downward facing dog. So to come into this, tuck the toes back under. So now your toes are on the floor. And just depending on how much strength you want in this pose, you can kind of move up through a push-up. That's a lot though, honestly, right? To just kind of push yourself straight back up into plank and then down dog. So however you want to get there, sometimes it's easier if you can kind of come onto the knees first and then lift your hips up and back. And then you're going to press your chest towards your thighs. So your hands and your feet are still really wide on the mat, right? They're not going to walk any closer together. You're just lifting your hips up towards the sky. At the same time, your chest will begin to drop towards the floor and then press your chest towards your thighs. Down dog is really hard on the shoulders. It's a big core pose. So go ahead and come down onto the knees. And let's go ahead. We're going to move with our breath. So vinyasa means move with your breath. So again, if you get lost, it's fine. Don't care so much about getting lost, right? If anything, just hang out and breathe. I am going to try to help you, but we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. So we're going to do that whole series 3 times through with our breath. Okay. So if you don't want to do the chaturanga, you can always skip like that yogi push-up and just press back into a child's pose or a downward facing dog. You don't have to do the whole thing. It's a pretty energizing and a pretty strength building pose. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's make our way into our downward facing dog. And for everybody, a good way to come into that down dog is to find your plank pose first. So that's at top of the push-up. Okay, well, and we can just come up to standing since actually most of you are standing. So let's come back. let's come all the way up to standing. Yep, there we go. So we're going to start from the top. So that whole series we're going to move through with our breath. Find your Tadasana pose. Good. Press down into the feet. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Hinge at your hips, come all the way down. Take your hands to the floor. Hands come all the way down. Yep. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to shins. You're going to lengthen the spine. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Good. And then exhale, take your hands down to the floor. We're going to move into that plank pose. So walk your feet all the way back to the back of your mat. And you're finding one long line of energy from the top of your head all the way out through your heels. So inhale, shift an inch forward. Yes, that's perfect. Shift an inch forward and exhale, lower down. So you're going to hug the elbows in and bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Come all the way down to the floor. That's your chaturanga when you lower down. Inhale, cobra pose. Untuck your toes, lift the chest. So you're just lifting the chest. Remember not to lead with the gaze. Yes, good. And then exhale, downward facing dog. So press into the hands and lift your hips up and back. So toes are tucked under. Very good. Yes. Yes, there's your down dog. There you go, guys. So we're going to move a little bit faster this time through. From your down dog, bend your knees. Bend your nose towards the front of your mat. So you're kind of looking where you're going. And then exhale, step up to the front of your mat, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. So you're standing now in that forward fold position. Chest is down, hands are on the floor.
Okay.
So Sheila, walk your feet forward. Yep, there you go. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to your shin bones. Lift the chest. Good. Exhale down, forward fold, hands to the floor. Press down into the feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach your hands to the sky.
Congratulations again.
Oh, good. And then bring your hands to heart center. So palms are at the chest, thumbs connected to the heart. That's one full round of vinyasa, okay? There we go. So when you're ready, press down into the feet. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Arms reach up towards the sky. Good. And then exhale, forward fold. Bend at your hips, come all the way down. Take your hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to your shin bones. Lift the chest, pull your shoulder blades onto your back. Good. Exhale, plant the hands down on the floor. Step back, find that plank pose, top of a push-up. So walk your feet to the back of your mat. Yep, good. Inhale, shift an inch forward. Option to bring your knees down here. And then exhale, chaturanga. Lower all the way down to your belly. Untuck your toes. Squeeze your elbows back. Inhale, cobra pose. Lift the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Press your body up. And then lift the hips up and back. Press your chest towards your thighs. Wonderful, guys. That was really good. Yeah, we're getting it. So bend your knees in your down dog. Send your nose forward towards the front of your mat. So it's like you're trying to look forward. And then step your feet forward towards the front of your mat, coming into your standing forward fold. We got one more time with the breath. So inhale, halfway lift. Good. Exhale, fold. Come down, take your hands to the floor. So anytime I say fold, it just means take your hands. Yep, there you go. Press down into the feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach your arms to the sky. We're coming into our standing position. Good. And then exhale, hands together at heart center. Yes, hands at your heart. Bring your thumbs to the sternum. Yep, good. One more time through, guys. So you're looking very good. Inhale, reach the arms up. Arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Bend at your hips. Come all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to shin bones. Lift the chest. Good. Exhale, take your hands to the floor. Step your feet back. Plank pose. Top of a push-up. Option to bring your knees down. Inhale, shift an inch forward. Exhale, lower all the way. Hug the elbows in as you lower down to the ground. Untuck the toes. Inhale, cobra pose. Lift your chest. Wonderful. And exhale, downward facing dog or child's pose. You want to take a child's pose like we did in the beginning of class, feel free to do that. All right, guys, that was wonderful. So that was breath to movement. We did a whole 3 rounds. I think you guys got a little comfortable. Go ahead and come down into a child's pose. So that was what we did at the beginning of class. Yep, and then take your knees a little bit wider. Bring your big toes together. And then press your hips back to your heels and walk your hands forward. And drop your chest all the way down. Take your forehead to the ground. Take a few rounds of breath. So vinyasa really gets the heart rate pumping, right? We got our breath going there. We got moving. So slow down the breath. Awesome, guys. We did so well. I'm really proud. You guys did awesome. So let's go ahead and come back to our tabletop position. Coming to all fours. And we're just going to do a little calf stretch. So the calf is that big muscle at your bottom leg there at the back of your heel. So your arms are going to stay just as they are. Shift the weight into your left knee. And then shoot your right toes straight back behind you. So your right leg is straight. And then your right heel is extended. So your toes are going to be on the floor. It's just your right leg is now straight and your left knee is still bent on the floor. Yes, and then you want the toes tucked under. Press into your hands, shift your weight back and try to send your heel towards the floor. And that's just going to stretch your calf muscle. And maybe up into the hamstring as well, the back of the thigh. Good, so take a big breath in, big breath out. And then inhale, shift forward, bring your right knee down to the floor, and we're just gonna switch sides. So shift the weight into your right knee, send your left leg straight back behind you. Your leg is straight, your toes are on the floor. Good, big inhale here, and then exhale, press your heel towards the floor. So you can press into your hands, shift your weight back until you feel a stretch through that left calf, maybe up into your left thigh. Make sure that you're staying strong through the hands and the shoulders. So really press into all 4 corners of the palms, all 10 finger pads. Good, guys. Deep breath in, deep breath out, and then bring it back to center. So bring the right knee back in, good. And then go ahead and just kind of bring your legs to one side, shift your hips to the other side. We're gonna make our way down into a seated position. So you're just gonna sit on your booties. And then make sure that you're kind of towards the back of your mat a little bit, just so you have some space. And we're gonna extend the legs straight out in front of us. So with your legs extended straight out in front of you, your heels are about hip distance apart. So you want a little bit of space between your heels, and then flex your feet. Take your hands on the floor on either side of your hips. Yeah, so your fingers are gonna face forward towards your feet. Flex your feet, press down into the palms, and lift your chest. So the shoulders are gonna stay stacked right over the hips here. Lift and lengthen up through the top of your head. Slightly tuck your chin so the back of your neck feels nice and long. Yeah, good, guys. Keep the feet flexed. There we go. And then breathe into that stretch. So this is a good core work. This is some good leg work. Take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, forward fold. So take your hands, start to walk them forward towards your feet. And then you can either grab onto the outer thighs, you can grab onto the outer calves, or you can grab onto the outside edges of your feet. So basically, this is just a seated forward fold. Remember how we were standing and we poured our chest forward, right? So this is just this position, but we're now seated. So a little bit easier. If you feel any strain at all in the low back, you can bend your knees a little bit. So that'll release pressure in the back. And then relax your head, relax your neck, close your eyes, and just breathe into the back body. Very nice job, guys. Take one more round of breath. Big inhale, big exhale. And then inhale nice and slow, come all the way up. Good. So take your hands to the back of your right thigh, and you kind of interlace them around the back of your right thigh. And then pull your knee in towards your chest. So the sole of your right foot is going to be on the floor. Good. And then release your hands from the back of your thigh. And take your hands around the front of your right shin. Sit nice and tall so you can squeeze that knee in towards your chest. Lift your chest towards the knee. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Good. Take a couple breaths there. Flex your left foot, the one that's extended, so you keep that leg nice and strong. Good. Big breath in. Big breath out. We're going to move into a twist. So you're going to take your right leg and cross it over the left leg. So now the sole of your right foot is on the outside of your left thigh. You can walk it as far away from you as you need to so that you can get the whole sole of your foot down on the ground. Plant into all 4 corners of that right foot. And then continue to give your right knee a hug. So pull that knee in towards your chest, sit nice and tall. Feel all that beautiful length that you're creating in your spine. We're going to take this into a twist. So wrap your left arm around your right knee, and then take your right hand behind you to the floor. And it's kind of like you're trying to reach towards the back of your mat with that right hand. Yes, good. Lift and lengthen the spine, big inhale. And then exhale, twist a little bit more. So you're trying to work that right rib cage and your right shoulder behind you. Your head can kind of follow that spiral. Again, just try not to lead with the head. So you want the twist to come from the lower spine and rotate all the way up through the spine. Eventually, your head will follow the spiral. Good. If you want a little bit more here, you can take the left elbow and place it on the outside of your right knee or thigh. Good. And then you'll kind of make that little stop position with your hand again. So your hand is going to be right out in front of you. You can spread the fingers nice and wide. Yeah, good. Want me to say it again? So bend your elbow. If you have your elbow on the outside of your right knee, then you're going to bend your elbow. And so the hand will basically be in line with where your face is. And then you'll have that stop position with the hand. So your fingers are spread really wide and energize the hands. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move into the other side. So go ahead and unwind yourself, extend your legs out so you can uncross that right leg. Give your legs a little tap out. So that just means kind of like bend your knees and bang them on the floor a little bit. You can do anything that feels good. And then grab onto the back of your left thigh and then hug your left knee in towards your chest with the sole of your foot on the ground. Release your hands from the back of your left thigh, grab onto the front of your left shin, and then inhale, sit nice and tall. Lift your chest towards your knee, flex that right foot, your extended leg. Sit nice and tall, feel all that beautiful length in the spine. We want to keep that length in our twist. So cross the left leg over the right. The sole of your left foot is going to be on the outside of your right thigh. Wrap your right arm around your left knee. And then take your left hand behind you to the mat. And it's like you're trying to reach those left fingertips towards the back of your mat. Sit nice and tall, lift and lengthen up through the top of your head. And then exhale, twist. So you can try to work that left shoulder and your left rib cage behind you a little bit more. Try to keep your knee hugging in towards your chest because that will maintain some of the length in your spine. And then again, if you want more, you're going to take your right elbow to the outside of your left knee or thigh. And then you'll bend the elbow so that you have that kind of stop position with your hand. Yeah. And this is actually, when you have the hand out like this is actually a blessing for all the people. This is sending out like good vibes and good energy to all the living beings in the world. So send out that love. Sit nice and tall, lift and lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, you can always twist a little bit more if that suits your body. So inhales will always create length in the spine. And then exhales, you can maybe twist a little bit deeper. You might not, but just notice. And we're going to hold this for a few breaths because we were on the other side for a little bit. So I want to make sure you guys are nice and balanced. So maybe even close the eyes, just signaling for your body to go inward. Breathe deep into the belly. And we'll take 3 more rounds of breath here. So nice and slow, breathe in and breathe out. 2 more just like that. Good job, guys. So after that last exhale, inhale, come back to center, extend your legs out, and then kind of bend your knees one at a time and just shake the legs out a little bit. Good. Yeah, good job, guys. All right, so scoot yourself forward towards the front of your mat, bend your knees and place your feet on the floor. Yep. From here, arms reach straight out in front of you so that your arms are parallel to the earth. Yes, good. Inhale, lift. Yep, you guys are good. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, nice and slow, roll all the way down onto your back. So keep the chest lifted and come all the way down. And then once you're on your back, yeah, make sure you have space and you won't run into anything. And then hug your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a nice big hug. A big squeeze here. Good. And then wrap your hands around either the back of your right thigh or around the front of your right shin, whatever feels better in your body. So now your hands are just going to be holding onto the right leg, and then extend your left leg all the way out onto the mat. So your left leg will be straight. Let that left leg come all the way down. Perfect. And then just squeeze that right knee in towards your right armpit. Maybe do some rolls with the right ankle so you can draw big circles with your right toes, rolling out the ankle. Just do anything that feels good in your body. Take a few deep breaths. Good. Big inhale, big exhale. And then switch it out. So hug your left knee in towards your chest. Extend your right leg all the way out onto the mat. Hug the left knee in, and you can always grab around the back of your left thigh or around the front of your left shin, whatever feels better in your left knee. If you did some circles with your left ankle, or I'm sorry, if you did circles with your right ankle, then you can roll the left ankle a little bit, or maybe just breathe deeply, squeeze your knee in with every exhale. This is called wind removing pose for a good reason. So every exhale, you can kind of think about squeezing that knee in and releasing the air out. Good. And then just do that one more time with your breath. So inhale, pull the right knee in towards your chest, extend your left leg out as you exhale. Yep, just switch it out, take a breath there. And then switch sides once again. So left knee hugs in and right leg, good, extend. And then go ahead and gather both knees in towards your chest. Pull both knees in, give yourself a nice big hug. And then do some circles with your knees so that you massage your low back a little bit. So you can kind of roll your knees in a big circle, or maybe just kind of rock from side to side. Give your low back and your sacrum some love. Wonderful. And then when you feel ready, gather your knees in towards your chest. And we're going to squeeze ourselves into a tiny, tiny little ball. So wrap your arms around your shins, lift your forehead up into your knees. Get as tiny and as small as you can. Scrunch up all the muscles in your face. Squeeze your belly. You can point or flex your toes. Take a big inhale. Open mouth, exhale, Shavasana. So fall onto the mat. Allow your whole body to open. You're just going to lay flat on the mat. So let your feet fall out. Take your legs to the floor. If it's ever uncomfortable for your low back, you're always welcome to bend the knees and have your feet on the floor. Otherwise, your legs will be all the way extended. Shuffle the shoulder blades underneath you. And then relax the whole body. So just breathe nice and deep, let it go. Relax your body. Soften all the muscles in your face. And breathe easily in and out through the nose. And then when you guys begin to feel ready, you can wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, let your head fall side to side. And as you do feel ready, reach your arms up overhead. Take that big good morning stretch. So reach your arms up and back. Make sure you have some space behind you. Point your toes, arch your back. Feel the stretch through your whole body. Yeah, good. Big inhale here. Open mouth, exhale. Let it out. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. And then you can roll onto whichever side is more comfortable, your right or your left side. With as little effort as possible, come all the way up to a comfortable seated position, just like we started in the beginning of class. Whatever comfortable seat works for you. And then close your eyes, and we'll close by bringing our hands back to heart center. So palms are connected, and then your thumbs are resting on your heart. Take a moment here to just feel your body, feel your mind. Notice anything that happened during your practice, any subtle shifts in the body or in the mind. And as always, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for practicing. From my heart to yours, namaste. Namaste just means the light in me bows to the light in you. So thank you guys very much.